Mars is not what it seems. Discover what strange signals it emits at night. Welcome to Mind-Blown Space, the place where the unknown becomes a spectacle and reality surpasses fiction. Today we are going to talk about Mars, that red neighbor that seems to be playing hide-and-seek with science. What mystery hides in its nights? Get ready to discover it with a touch of sarcasm you do not expect. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything. The mysterious atmosphere that only wakes up at night. Let's think for a moment about Mars, the planet we all imagine as dry, dusty, and colder than your grandmother's fridge. But here's the thing. Scientists have detected a very particular gas that appears only at night and disappears during the day. Yes, we're talking about methane, that molecule that on Earth is almost always synonymous with life, although here we keep the irony. Because of course, Mars is not exactly an Airbnb for microorganisms. This nighttime methane has been captured by several rovers, but no one really knows why it hides during the day. A clandestine party of Martian bacteria that only comes out when no one sees them? Or maybe Mars is just very shy and prefers to keep its secrets in the dark? What is certain is that this fluctuation confuses the experts and forces them to rethink where and how to look for signs of life. Also, Mars was a pretty friendly planet in its first billion years, with rivers, lakes, and even smoking volcanoes, conditions that in theory could have housed primitive forms of life. But don't get too excited yet, because then the atmosphere went downhill and the surface became like a sequel to the apocalypse. Still, the methane keeps appearing. And that leads us to wonder, could there be life hidden beneath the surface, perhaps in some underground lake that not even telescopes can detect? The images sent by the rovers show that in areas where there is ancient volcanism, those gases appear more intensely. Maybe they are not gases exhaled by Martians, but the result of chemical reactions. But how boring would that be, right? I prefer to imagine that there is a Martian ecosystem that only lights up when the sun goes to sleep. Mars is playing with our curiosity, and it is doing so in the dark, at night, when we all relax and let ourselves be carried away by conspiracy theories. This nocturnal mystery is like that catchy song you don't know where it comes from, but you can't stop humming. Could the next big scientific surprise be hiding behind Martian nighttime methane? Only time and a rover with a good eye will tell us. The possibility of a subterranean ocean hidden beneath the polar ice. Now that we know Mars is not just an inhospitable desert, but could have secrets hidden beneath its surface, let's dive into what some scientists call the holy grail of Martian exploration: underground oceans. Yes, those frozen lakes that could be hiding beneath the planet's polar ice caps. Imagine this. While the Martian sun warms very little, the surface kilometers beneath the ice there are deposits of liquid water. No, it's not a swimming pool for aliens nor a galactic spa, but it is a possible habitat for life forms that, hopefully, have no idea their planet is famous for being red and not blue. This theory gained traction when, in 2018, scientists announced the detection of a subglacial lake beneath Mars's south polar ice cap. But not just one, several. A set of frozen, salty lakes that could sustain living microorganisms? That sounds like something out of a science fiction novel mixed with a documentary. The fascinating and unsettling part is that these lakes, according to studies, have water so salty it barely freezes, allowing it to remain liquid under such extreme conditions. But here's the irony. That salinity could also be poisonous for most forms of life as we know it. So, if there are Martians down there, they must be really tough or have a special taste for mineral waters. Of course, not everything is a Martian fairy tale. Some more recent studies doubt the existence of these lakes or suggest that what looks like liquid water could be something else, like reflective layers of dust or ice with strange properties. But hey, what would science be without a little mystery and heated debate? What is clear is that these findings open a range of possibilities that go beyond the simple question, is there life on Mars? They force us to rethink how, where, and why to look for life on a world that seemed dead but might be alive, at least in its frozen depths. And while the rovers keep exploring and sending data, here on Earth we continue with that mix of skepticism and hope because, after all, who wouldn't want to believe in nocturnal Martians surviving in lakes hidden beneath the ice? Methane and its nocturnal dance. Sign of life or geological trick? Ah, methane, that little gas that has sparked more theories and debates than any television series finale. On Mars, the story of methane is like a noir mystery. It appears only when night falls and disappears when the sun rises. It's almost as if Mars is playing hide-and-seek with the scientists. On Earth, methane is usually an unmistakable sign of life. It's produced by animals, bacteria, even plants. But, of course, here we can't just jump to the conclusion of Eureka Martians. Because there are also non-biological explanations, such as chemical reactions between minerals and underground water, or even the decomposition of ancient organic matter. Yes, the excitement dies down a bit when the solution is rocks reacting, but at least the search continues. The curious thing is that this nocturnal emission of methane coincides with cold conditions and the absence of sunlight, factors that could indicate that if there is life, it adapts to survive underground or in protected environments. Maybe we're dealing with life forms very different from what we know, beings that prefer the Martian shadows and won't come out to greet us during the day. Moreover, this meteoric fluctuation of methane is so rapid that no one has fully explained it. It's like Mars is turning an invisible faucet on and off, and the instruments in orbit can only look on with a "what now?" expression. Some scientists suggest it could be occasional leaks from frozen methane deposits that release at night and then get reabsorbed. And there lies the problem. Science still doesn't have a definitive answer. Experts debate, theories multiply, and we, mere Earthlings, remain fascinated by this little gas that might be the key to discovering that Mars is not as dead as we thought. Perhaps, in the not-too-distant future, rovers or even crewed missions will discover that methane is the sigh of hidden life, or simply the breath of a planet playing with our expectations. Either way, Martian methane is the star of the night, and it doesn't intend to leave the stage anytime soon. The relentless search and what we still have yet to discover. After all this roller coaster of theories, elusive gases, and hidden lakes, one wonders, what's next for the exploration of Mars? Well, get ready for a story mixing patience, technology, and a bit of scientific desperation. While rovers like Perseverance continue their slow but steady Martian stroll, collecting samples and sending data, scientists here on Earth are rubbing their hands, or their heads, trying to interpret signals that sometimes seem like coded messages. It's a race against time and technological limits, because despite all the progress, digging just a few centimeters into the Martian surface remains a huge challenge. But the real excitement lies in future missions, which promise to go deeper and carry more sophisticated instruments. We're talking about probes that could drill through the polar ice, landers capable of directly analyzing those underground lakes, or even human missions that, if all goes well, could make Mars their new temporary home. Yes, because nobody said surviving on a red planet without an atmosphere and with giant dust storms would be a walk in the park. The irony is that despite all the advances, we still rely on tiny signals, a gas that appears at night, a strange reflection beneath the ice, a mineral that shouldn't be there. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack, but a haystack the size of a planet. Meanwhile, popular imagination runs wild, and conspiracy theories grow, from sleeping Martians to secret bases hidden by space agencies. Although the reality is probably less exciting, the truth is that this cat-and-mouse game between science and Mars is what keeps interest alive. So, if you thought Mars was a boring, lifeless planet, I hope I've made you reconsider a bit. That red neighbor is more alive than ever in laboratories and in our curious minds. Who knows? Maybe the next big scientific news about extraterrestrial life will come from that place where methane dances with the night and water hides beneath the ice. Thanks for joining us on this mind-blowing journey through the mysteries of Mars. Don't forget to subscribe to Mind Blown Space for more explorations and secrets of the universe. See you in the next episode, where reality outshines fiction.